We are fortunate to have Iowa's Secretary of Agriculture, Mike Naig, on board the AEM Manufacturing Express. Mike, thank you for being on board with equipment manufacturing in Iowa.
I'm thrilled to be here. This has been a lot of fun today, and I got to say, this is kind of a nice setup here.
Well, we appreciate it. We're going to spend an awful lot of time on this bus.
That's what I hear.
Yes, indeed. 4 months. Talk to me a little bit about why equipment manufacturing is important to communities like Pella, Marion County, and the state of Iowa.
Yeah, and in my role as Secretary of Ag, I travel all over. We have 99 counties in the state of Iowa. Get to every one every year, and love to visit our great manufacturers. So, state of Iowa, the drivers of our economy at the core would be ag and manufacturing, and a lot of the manufacturing is ag manufacturing. And so, we know at a very basic level here that those two things strengthen our state, or as I like to say, it's awfully hard to imagine Iowa being strong without those two things doing well. And the other thing that I get to see is the impact of these manufacturers in smaller communities. In a Pella, in a Williamsburg, in a Bloomfield, in a Knoxville. These are really drivers of local economies in addition to our larger state economy. So we are very proud of that tradition of manufacturing and production in the state of Iowa. And the other thing that I think is really a hallmark of Iowa is just our focus on innovation. Again, in both of those spaces, you're seeing it play out in so many ways. So we're really proud of what manufacturing brings to the state of Iowa.
Well, innovation and that can-do spirit is really critical to the long-term success of our industry. And picking up on that, tell me a little bit about the work that you're doing to help not only strengthen our industry, but support communities like Pella, Iowa.
Well, look, you've got to have the conditions have got to be right for businesses to thrive and grow, and that's not just one thing. It's many things. And so what we think about at the state level is you've got to have a commitment in terms of the business climate, the regulatory climate. We like to talk about we want to be able to build things in the state of Iowa. Well, put your money where your mouth is. Can people actually come here, do business, expand? Can their businesses thrive? Workforce. Who isn't talking about the challenges of workforce? And that again, it's not one thing, it's many things. It's everything from housing, child care, access to great education, health care, basic infrastructure. Those aren't easy things, but if you're focused on those over the long run, layering in making sure that the business climate is right, and then making sure that you've got a place where innovation can occur as well. It still takes people at the end of the day, and so what are we doing to create pipelines? But I think those are the types of things that we're focused on. Those are the things we shouldn't take for granted. And if you want to see continued success, those are the things you better be focused on for the long run.
Well, I know it sure does take people, and that's the whole purpose of this tour, is to tell the stories of the people that make this industry as great as it is.
Yeah.
What is the one word that comes to mind when you think of equipment manufacturing?
Well, I would have to say of late, it really is around this piece of innovation. And that's certainly has connotations of high tech, and I can think of shops that I've been in where they've got those state-of-the-art technology and equipment, but I also think about innovation when it comes to business practices, to recruiting and retaining, to creating apprenticeship opportunities. I mean, it's innovation in every sense. We like to say in agriculture, the only constant is change. I think it's the same in manufacturing as well, which is if you're sitting back, if you're resting on the things that you've done that maybe have brought you success for many, many years, well, that doesn't guarantee that it's going to be true going forward. So I really do think it's the creativity, the entrepreneurial spirit. Even in a larger company, you can get pockets of entrepreneurship that occur, and I love that way of thinking. And so that's what I see a lot of in Iowa, certainly as some of the manufacturers that I've been able to visit.
Yeah, and I think whether you mention Vermeer, Weiler, Kinsey, Gomeco, the list is almost endless of those Iowa manufacturers that have really been powered by innovation and ingenuity.
Well, somebody realized a problem that either they were having in their business or their farm, or they saw their neighbors having it, and had the ability to go into a shop somewhere and just make something happen. And so many companies have their roots in that kind of just practical application of, we had a problem, we fixed it.
We are on a 10,000 mile, 20 state, 80 community road trip. And so I figured we would end this segment with a few road trip themed questions. So you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Your favorite road trip memory, sir?
Favorite road trip memory? Oh, I mean, I've got so many. You know, I grew up a child of the 80s farm crisis. And I'm one of 4 kids. And I have great memories of rolling down the road with my brothers and sisters and mom and dad in the station wagon back in the 80s. And of course, we always packed a lunch. We always stopped somewhere and have a lunch. There's so many pictures of us sitting on the hood of the car, having lunch in a parking lot or at a park. And yet those were tough times. But I have great memories of that, and just a lot of fun, and I think I go back to that. And then, of course, with my own kids, we love a good road trip as well. Though we don't picnic as much as we probably should. I think we should get back to that.
I think it's a lost art. We should all try to revive, and maybe it's something that we will do here on the AEM Manufacturing Express. Speaking of picnics, favorite road trip snack?
Favorite road trip snack? Well, when I'm out and about in the state of Iowa, of course there's a bit of a thing you've got to understand about Iowa, and I gave this advice maybe a little earlier today, which is that it turns out that the best pizza in the state of Iowa actually comes from a gas station. That would be Casey's, and I'm not kidding. It really does. And so I would have to say that the number of slices of pizza that I've had while road tripping around the state of Iowa, I'd almost be embarrassed to tell you, but it's awfully darn good. So I'm gonna go with Casey's Pizza for my number 1 road trip snack.
Well, we will avail ourselves of some of that as we travel across Iowa. All right, last question. Favorite road trip song?
Favorite road trip song? Oh, I don't know. Willie Nelson comes to mind. That's about all I can do. I don't know. I can listen to all kinds of music, but let's go with On the Road Again.
That's about as good as it gets, right?
I bet you might have a few people say that same thing.
We might. Hey, we really appreciate that you do.
It's actually yacht rock. That's what it is. If I were being honest, I'm sorry. It's never mind.
No, that's all right. I'm a bit of a yacht rock listener myself. So thank you so much for everything that you do for our industry, for the state of Iowa, and thank you for being on board with equipment manufacturing.
Thank you for telling the story of agriculture and manufacturing in this great country, and doing what you can to make sure it's strong going into the future.
Hey, it's our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.